Welcome, everyone, to the SoCal Car Scene Podcast, the exclusive place for coverage of car culture in Southern California and the personalities that drive it. This show is sponsored by SoCal Classic Car Storage and C-Tech Battery Chargers. Today, our very special guest is Martina Kwan. Please make sure you subscribe to the SoCal Car Scene on YouTube and listen in on all of your favorite podcast platforms like Apple iTunes. We are honored today to have as our guest once again Martina Kwan. Martina is a Hong Kong-born Chinese-German British-American race car driver from Los Angeles. She has lived in Asia and the Middle East, and her race car of choice is, of course, Porsche, which she drives exclusively. She holds track records and is a nationally certified Porsche Club of America driving instructor and an FIA licensed driver. She has also won multiple championships in her Porsche. Martina is also highly sought after as a speaker and transformational coach. She has most recently launched a newly accredited performance driving school with Dwain Dement, the DK Racing School at Willow Springs International Raceway here in SoCal, where she is with us today. Martina, thanks for coming back and joining us again on the SoCal Car Scene.
Hi, Dean and Jay. So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I was briefly chatting that we podcasted with you in the first week of March, I believe, and it seems like forever ago. We'd heard a little bit about this COVID thing, and we're like, what is that thing? And it seems like so long ago, and think of what we've had to endure. It's just so weird how all of our worlds have changed, and it makes it seem like so long ago.
Yeah, it certainly does. It definitely seems like another lifetime ago, right?
Yeah. I feel like there's pre and post COVID days. Like when you watch a movie or a TV show on television and there's a bunch of people at a game or, partying or, a bunch of people in close contact. You're like, oh, look at those people. You know what I mean?
It's so true. It's like everyone's become the police now, right?
Yeah. But even when you watch TV or watch a movie, you're judgmental. Like, look at all those irresponsible people in the baseball stand. What are they doing? Yeah. So anyway, you and your family and everybody's healthy. All's well. You're surviving this insanity.
Yeah. Perfect. Really good.
Excellent. Yeah, us the same. So we're just thankful to have you back. So last time we had you on our show, way back in March, one of the things you gave us was a hint about this racing school that you and Dwain Dement were planning to launch. Now here we are, full circle. You're live with us at Willow Springs at the DK Racing School. How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's really exciting. So when we met eons ago, it was just sort of in its inception. And so now actually during this time, during coronavirus, it's been sort of an incubation period for two of my businesses, and this is one of them. So it's been an oddly wonderful incubation period. So now we've decided on the name. It's the Dement Kwan Racing School, DK Racing School. And the location is here at Willow Springs at 3491 75th Street West, right outside the gate of Willow Springs. Literally, if I look that way, that's where the gate is. And it's, being developed here. The whole property is being developed by Dwain Dement of Vision Motorsports into a private membership facility with a pool and clubhouse and private carports and race car storage. And it's just sort of this idyllic world here. And it feels incredibly wonderful, especially right now, because it's, 500 acres of fresh air and fun things to do and, off-roading and racetracks. So it's really the perfect location, and it's so close to LA. So that was one of the other things that, obviously when you're looking to start a business, you look at your competitors, and they're sort of around the country. And in terms of private membership clubs, there are some, but they're really far. So, the other ones are, let's say, 2.5 to 5 hours from LAX, and we're only 1.5 hours. So in terms of both the private membership facility as well as the racing school, we think that the location is really prime and ideal. and as well as having, access to not just one, but several different racetracks here. So it's, Big Willow is great. It's known as the fastest road of the West. But then
Right.
Streets of Willow, you can do both directions and it's much more technical. So it's actually an excellent combination to teach on both.
That's fantastic. What a great location. Tell us, I think everybody knows what you bring to this operation, this burgeoning business. It's so exciting. Your race car background, your success in racing and certification as a driver. But tell us how Dwain's experience in car fabrication and race car driving itself. How is this such an ideal combination from that perspective?
Well, traditionally, all racing schools have been founded by male race car drivers, and fairly well-known ones. And so Dwain could have started his own racing school many moons ago. He's been a successful pro race car driver, holds track records. But I think, one of the most incredible things about his driving skills is people liken him to Ken Miles because he's
Wow.
An expert mechanic, has been with Porsches for 40 years. But at the same time, he gets in the race car and within 1 or 2 laps, he knows exactly how to tweak the car. And that's really rare. So, he brings so much to the table.
Right.
And I believe as a combination, obviously I wouldn't be where I was here. Obviously part of, every person's success in many different professions is having the right mentor or the right coach. And so, he's been my race coach, in my journey here. And obviously I have to have my own, traits in order to have, arrived at this spot, but he was an integral part in helping me become a 3-time champion. So, the other thing is that, when you have somebody with 40 years of experience, he started with Andile, the renowned Andile many years ago, and has had Vision Motorsports for 25 years. And, it's sort of, old news to him. So the way somebody who's been in a car for 40 years explains it or really feels, wants to know different things than somebody who just, relatively recently started, such as in my case.
Right.
So that's why I think it's really, truly an ideal combination.
Powerful.
Because, things that somebody who's done it for 40 years leaves out, I'm like, I wanted to know all this stuff like right away.
No patience, right? It's going to you want to consume all this right now.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Hey, so Jason and I have had the opportunity to go over to Dwain's shop, and we're blown away. It's the cars, the race cars, the caliber of the cars, just what's going on in his operation is mind blowing, to be honest with you. And that was our first introduction to his amazing career and just deep, intricate knowledge of these Porsche machines that are so amazing. So I don't think you could have picked a better partner just based on looking at the facility, even without understanding his racing background. Incredible.
Yeah, he's an incredible man. It's he's so knowledgeable about race cars and race car builds, and very honest and ethical businessman, which is a wonderful trait.
Well, we also know that everything you've touched has turned to gold. You've been successful at everything you've done. And I know based on, our previous podcast, everything you throw yourself at, you'll be incredibly successful at. And so we're so excited to be here sharing this with our audience today. I want to take a minute and mention one of our incredible sponsors, C-Tech battery chargers. Are you looking for a smarter way to charge your car's battery? Our friends at C-Tech lead the way in care and maintenance of vehicle batteries. C-Tech's unparalleled knowledge and continuous investment in innovation means they offer high quality, reliable chargers that are effective, easy to use, and most importantly, safe for the user and the car's electric system. The quality of C-Tech's products make them the trusted company of the world's most recognizable car brands like Audi, Bentley, BMW, Corvette, Ford, Ferrari, Maserati, Mercedes, Porsche, of course, and numerous others. Get yours today at smarterchargers.com. So, you know what? We're just so excited to have you at your track today. And we're going to be looking at some video insights of not just your facility, but your track as well. And hopefully you're going to be sharing some goodies of Dwain, putting a few cars to the paces out there. Tell us a little bit about the track itself, and tell us a little more about the facility. Maybe more at a high level. I think the video and some of these photos you're going to share with us later will give us more detail. But tell us a little bit more about the track and the facility, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so Willow Springs is here in Rosamond, California, in the Mojave Desert. And most of the California racetracks are near the desert. And so it's a wonderful 500-acre facility. And, you first drive in and you arrive at the big racetrack, which is a 2.5-mile Big Willow, is what they call it. Right. And that's what's known as the fastest road in the West. And, you have cafeterias, stands, and, camping area. There's all sorts of things to do. You can buy your race fuel here. And there's also a go-karting track to the left. So it's a big track for go-karters as well. And then there are other tracks as well. So if you go up to the Budweiser balcony, there's one of the drift tracks up there.
No kidding.
So a lot of the drifters are up there while people are racing on the big and streets of Willow. And then you head down to the back of the complex and you have, more tracks. You have the streets of Willow, which is also great for road racers. And then you have another drift course. And then you have 2 additional kind of drifting ovals in the back. One is called Speedway. I can't remember the other one's name. But it's a huge facility. It's really wonderful. And, a lot of magazines such as Motor Trend, film here. And it's quite, you can always recognize the mountains and, the desert mountains in the background. So it's, there's some camping hookups here, and it's just sort of an adult playground. There's also a gun range and, sort of off-roading, in the back. So it's an adult playground, if you will.
Wow. I think that answers the question of why Willow Springs. My goodness. Why not Willow Springs? It sounds like everybody should get out there. There's something for everybody. I mean, I want to hit the go-kart track, and I want to learn how to crash a car while I'm burning off rubber on tires. It looks so easy, but it's not. We did meet Dean Kearney is his name one day. He was looking for storage with us, and he's a drift car driver. He's got a 1,500 horsepower car that he professionally races in. And I'm like, what an amazing world. You just open the door on any of these worlds and you're like, whoa, I had no idea. Sounds like it's just, like you said, a great playground for so many different types of driving and competitive driving activities.
Yeah, it's incredible. And, our events are not going to be restricted to just Willow Springs, but this is our home base. Right. So we're here every week, and, Fridays are test days, and it's just a wonderful community. The people who live here and work here, and the huge family. It's a wonderful sense of community.
That's great. Well, we look forward to getting out there, Jay and I. We're talking about it, so we hope to get out there in the months to come. One of the things that we love about your story is we're just super proud to be an advocate for women in the automotive world and certainly in the racing world. That makes you very unique. So we're super pumped up about your success and where you're going. But are you hoping to attract young women to your school to both encourage them to learn, to find their car limits, like let's say they own Porsches and, learn to find the limits, but stay safe, or at the same time, hopefully influence them to race cars as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm really, really hoping that more women will join. And, there are a lot of different women's groups that I belong to now, like Porsche Women Global. We had a Zoom yesterday, and it's all women, females who own Porsches around the world. And a lot of them are here in LA. So I'm really hoping that a lot of them will start coming out. And, that's one of the reasons why I structured or restructured our September 18th first DK Precision Driving School the way we did, is to be not intimidating to both men or women who haven't really been to the racetrack. There are a lot of other groups that I belong to where everyone's a canyon driver, or they go to car shows and they actually have race cars, or they have, let's say, a 918 Spider or a GT2 RS, but they don't come to the track. And I think, part of it is that, there are so many different track days. If you look on Motorsport Reg, there's something available at any track pretty much every weekend, even during this time. A lot of events have carried on, which is great because you're alone in your car, so why not?
Yeah.
But it's still, kind of a sense of, I'm going to be thrown out there and what do I do? And so our September 18th Precision Driving School is really geared towards somebody who's, I don't know if I want to take my baby, i.e. my 911 or whatever it is, to the track, and, what do I do? And, I really have no idea. And so this is where, me being a relative newcomer came in. So I had the idea of, when you arrive at the track, where do you go? So I have, a video of arriving at the track, what to do at the gate, where to park, what not to drive over, otherwise you'll get nails in your car. What is a grid? Even the terminology can be intimidating.
Yeah. So you're trying to lower the fear factor for the novice so that they don't feel like, they're coming in and going to be humiliated with their lack of intimate knowledge of the racing environment, right?
Well, exactly. Both for men and women, it feels like, you have to walk in and it's like, you kind of have to act like you know what you're doing. That's kind of what I did, and I got this, but when in reality, I didn't really know everything, so again, the terminology. And the other thing I thought would be great is to provide a racing simulator video of Willow Springs. And
great idea.
As yet, I really haven't found anything which explains things, and it's so real looking. So I'm going to get on my simulator at home, which really helped me, by the way, last year with Celine. I felt like I'd been to Watkins Glen and Road America after driving on the simulator.
Amazing.
So I think that's going to be a really comforting thing to see. 3D views of the racetrack on a racing simulator. Then Dwain and I driving in a quiet car, not those YouTube videos, I obsessively search for YouTube videos for Willow Springs, and every racetrack that I've been to, and they're all loud and bumpy and, unclear. So ours is going to be clear, and we'll do a track walk. So, there's so much people can learn. You would never guess how banked turn 1 is at Willow Springs. Most people don't know unless you're standing there. Yeah. And literally you're looking up at the person standing up on the top. So, and then, the 6 lead follow run sessions with radios. So everyone has a sense of what to do. Everyone's going to get a chance to go behind the lead car. We're also going to follow. And then we're going to do live critiquing after each session. And then there's going to be a test at the end of the day. So everyone's going to have to pass. They can't just come in and drive like cowboys and then decide that they want to have a certificate. So everyone has to pass with good sports person-like conduct and be a safe driver.
Well, maybe I shouldn't come out there then, because, I'm more inclined to be a cowboy. No, I'm kidding. We're anxious to get out there. We may just have to get ourselves a Porsche just so we can indulge in this. How about that? Can people bring cars other than Porsches and participate in this school? Does it matter what you're driving?
Yes, it doesn't matter. Anyone can bring any car. So all makes, models, whether it's a Tesla, whether it's a Kia, it's really fine. It doesn't have to be a Porsche, and that goes for the whole racing school.
Great.
So, we're going to welcome all brands.
Oh, fantastic. I think a lot of people will be excited to hear that, especially since, sometimes folks have, just continue to invest in a vehicle and, they don't, there's just no stopping sometimes. Next thing you know, you spent $100,000 in a car and you don't know why. And but now you're probably ready to do some track time now that you've got an LS3 and 100 grand in it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, and you know what? The other thing that I forgot to mention is, a lot of the events are not allowing co-drivers in the car, meaning no instructors.
Sure.
And so we're collaborating with PCA San Diego because they have drivers who have maybe driven with them once, and they're not allowed to go with them to Willow Springs on the 19th and 20th, which is a day after ours,
right?
Because they don't have their solo license yet. So that's what we're here for as well, to bridge the gap between being able to get licensed within PCA, within POC, within NASA, within SCCA, within all the organizations. We're sort of bridging the gap right now.
That's great. I think that's great. Yeah, these you guys have navigated these treacherous COVID-19 days and given people the capability that used to be taken for granted, prior to social distancing. So, hey, one other thing that I want to chat about briefly, and then we'll continue the learning a little bit more. But you mentioned that Dwain's out there, exercising a few vehicles, and I believe he's actually got some of the Guntherwerks bespoke Porsches out there today. Can you tell us what Dwain is doing, obviously in his capable hands with those cars today?
Yeah, so he's been working with Guntherwerks for a couple of months now, and he's helping them just sort of, help drive and tune the cars, sort of the Ken Miles aspect, getting in the car and then, getting out and, helping determine what would make the car better. And it's an incredible car, by the way. So it's that beautiful green one.
Oh, I've seen it. Today. Love it.
And it's just such a and by the way, Peter Nam was there, and it was really wonderful speaking to him. And what a nice gentleman.
Yeah, he really is a gentleman. We had him on as a guest about 3 weeks ago, and just his, his vision, his willingness to take the risk to pursue his passions, and create these bespoke cars, and do what he felt like Porsche did not do. With 993s and create, the equivalent of a GT3, 993, air-cooled, but then, take it to the next level. Incredible machines. So what an honor to have Dwain sort those out and tune them and make recommendations to make them perform even better. Wow. So that's incredible. So we look forward to some of that video in this podcast. That'll be great. Thanks for sharing that with us. And right now we're going to take a second and thank our other podcast sponsor today, which is SoCal Classic Car Storage. Our facilities here in the lovely city of Laguna Hills, California, offer secure white glove vehicle storage services and extensive concierge services. In addition to storage, our expert sales staff offers consignment services for those looking to sell their cars. For more information, visit us here in Laguna Hills or find us at SoCalCarStorage.com or Facebook.com/SoCalCarStorage. So when the students complete their day, on that 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, whatever the days are, and, I don't know if some spend the whole weekend or just one day, do they get a certificate or multiple certificates? I think you touched a little bit on that. Will that allow them to get on other tracks? What does that give them by being certified? Explain that to our audience, if you don't mind.
So, the DK Precision Driving Schools are based on different levels. So the one we're doing on September 18th is level 1. And so it's for the relative novice or those people who really anyone who wants to know the tips and tricks of shaving seconds off your time at Willow Springs, bottom line. So there's different levels, from level 1 to an advanced level, and then those participants can go on to taking our driving schools, which are 1, 2, and 3-day schools. And depending on their experience in terms of getting on the track, that determines, how soon or how quickly they can become licensed race car drivers. But in terms of the September 18th driving day, what's important is PCA San Diego is holding their Willow Springs time trial and DE event on the 19th and 20th here. And this is going to allow people to have a certificate for solo driving in order to drive with PCA San Diego at Willow Springs, then a month later at Chuckwalla, and a month later at Buttonwillow. And so for those who are just participating in our day and not also participating in the PCA San Diego weekend, will get a certificate of completion for completing DK Precision Driving School Level 1. And later in the fall, we'll have, other levels and combinations of levels. And hopefully we'll start the racing schools as well at that point.
That's great. Yeah, that's super, super helpful. So, in a perfect world, do you have unlimited capacity, or do you need people to sign up, as soon as possible so that they make sure they get themselves a spot on these 3 days?
Yeah, I think it's really wise to sign up now as soon as you can, because spots fill up, and especially for PCA San Diego, the registration closes. There are a lot of people there, and they're making an accommodation for new drivers, and this is really an amazing chance to get on the track. So for 3 days, 1 day with us, and then really have an advantage over the other drivers on Saturday and Sunday, quite frankly. They're really going to know the ins and outs of this track so much better than a lot of other drivers, let me tell you. So the way to sign up is basically on motorsportreg.com, and then if you type in DK, even just DK or DK Racing School, our September 18th Precision Driving School will show up there.
Great.
So I also please hope to have my women come as well.
Oh, you have to, for sure. So tell us, where else can folks learn more about the DK Racing School on social media or out there on the web, in addition to signing up for this incredible opportunity on September 18th and hanging out with you and Dwain? Where else can folks find you out there on the wide world of the internet?
So I post a lot on Martina Kwan, so at Martina Kwan. And then we just started an Instagram account as well as a Facebook account. So Instagram is at DK Racing School, and the Facebook page is also at DK Racing School. So we have the event listed there, but it points to the sign up at motorsportreg.com. So, and then type in DK Racing School for this and any other future events.
Well, that's perfect. I think we're excited to be able to get this incredible story out and the opportunity for people to enhance their, skills on the streets, get the opportunity to go on these incredible courses, and then, kind of brag a little bit about when they navigate these turns correctly and pass a few folks that miss the opportunity. Of course, most Porsche drivers I know are incredibly competitive, and so they just can't wait to hone their skills. We've got a number of Porsches, as you know, in our facility, and they're so competitive. That's one thing I can guarantee you with almost every Porsche owner and driver.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's, there's so much competition, even for the Canyon drivers, and, even at car shows, who has the better car, who has the faster car, it's all sort of a comparison game. But again, that's why, there's a stealth way to get very good fast, and that's with DK Racing School, and then you can show up at those other events and really kill it, and show up and beat everyone's times, so who doesn't want to do that? I certainly, that would certainly appeal to me. Oh, the other thing is, if anyone has questions, feel free to email us at dkracingschool@gmail.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Many people are asking me, somebody asked about bringing a Tesla and where the closest charging station is. And there are charging stations in Lancaster and Palmdale, for example. Yeah. Or where the nearest hotels are. So there are several in Lancaster that I could recommend, so anything, just ask.
Well, that's great. So Martina, we just want to say thank you for joining us today and coming back and giving us this incredible update. We're just so excited for all that you've got going in the DK Racing School. And, we know, because we know you as, just as a friend now in the car community, that this is going to be an incredible success. So thank you for this incredible ride today.
Thank you to both of you and to everyone out there. It's always a pleasure being here. And yeah, great SoCal Classic Car Storage, by the way. Wonderful facility. Beautiful.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you. So we look forward to having you back, and we're going to do the same thing, come back to and see you at the DK Racing School. And Jason and I are going to demonstrate our ignorance out on the pavement. And for those of you watching us today, don't forget, all of our episodes are on the YouTube channel, The SoCal Car Scene, spell it out, separate words, where you can see all of our incredible videos, like with great guests like Martina today. Please watch, follow, and most importantly, subscribe. Hit that button so that you never miss an episode. If you prefer to listen to these episodes, please go to all your favorite platforms for podcasts like Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, Google Play, and the SoCal Car Storage /media page. And that's it for the SoCal Car Scene. Thank you.